Now we shall solve question number 6. What is question number 6? Let us see. Question number 6 is a problem and we will solve this problem, right. Here you see what happens to the force between two objects if the mass of one object is doubled, right. Suppose this is the solution. We will solve it by mathematics, right. That is, if we know that according to universal law of gravitation, the force of gravitation between two objects is given by F is equal to capital G, capital M, small m by r square, where capital G is the universal gravitational constant, capital M is the mass of any object, the small m is also, suppose this is one mass, that is capital M, the small m, and the distance between the center is r, then the force of gravitation will be capital G, capital M, small m by r square, right. And the first question is the mass of one object is doubled. Now, you see here that F is directly proportional to the masses, you see here, right. If mass is right, and if the mass is doubled, then force will also be doubled. Why? Because the force is also proportional to the mass of the objects. Since force, question number 1, the mass of one object is doubled, right. Force is directly proportional. You can see here the force is directly proportional. Force is directly proportional to the mass, proportional to the masses of the object, If the mass of one object is doubled, if the mass of one object, is doubled, then the gravitational force, the gravitational force will also get doubled, right. Number 2 is the distance between the object is doubled, right. Distance between the object is doubled and tripled, right. If the distance is doubled, then the gravitational force becomes 1/4 of its original value. Why? Because this is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. There is a F, you can see here F is inversely proportional to 1 by r square, right. If it is doubled, then it will be 1/4, right. You see here, if the distance is doubled, if the distance is doubled, doubled, the gravitational force becomes, if the distance is doubled, the gravitational force, if the distance is doubled, the gravitational force becomes 1/4 of its original value, right. And if it is tripled, similarly, if the distance is tripled, the gravitational force becomes the gravitational force the gravitational force becomes 1/9 of its original value, 1/9 of its original value Now, question number 3rd. The masses of both objects are doubled, right? That is, if masses are both masses are doubled, then it will be 4 times, right? Therefore, F is directly proportional to the product. F is force is directly proportional to the mass of the object, the masses of the objects, proportional to the product of masses, proportional to the product of masses, to the product of masses of the objects, masses of the objects. If the masses of both the objects are doubled, if the masses of both the objects are doubled, then the force become 4 times the original value, 4 times the original value, right? Again I am repeating, force is directly proportional to the masses of the object. If the mass of the one object is doubled, then the gravitational force will also get doubled, right? If the distance is doubled, the gravitational force becomes 1/4 of its original value. Similarly, if the distance is tripled, the gravitational force becomes 1/9 of its original value. Force is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the objects. If the masses of both objects are doubled, then the force becomes 4 times the original value. Thank you everybody for watching this video.